Oh, hey! Welcome to the virtual science fair. My name's Mr. Erlinger. Today we're going to talk about the SA12 Science Fair project, okay? The project today is about this. Not purple balls. It's about ice cubes. And what I'm going to do with this ice cube is I'm going to put it in a bunch of different areas. I'm going to put it in a bunch of places with cooler temperatures. And then I'm going to put it in a bunch of places with warmer temperatures. But every place that it's put is a little bit different. And I'm going to put this first. I'm going to put it in the sun just to give you an idea of what went on during this science fair project. And then we'll come back to it at the end and take a look at what it looks like. Now remember, it's a full ice cube. It's very big. And there you have it. So the name of this science fair project is Melt My Cube, okay? And I'd like to learn more about how long it takes for a solid, we're learning about the states of matter in school, to change to a liquid when put in different settings. So the question is step one. Where's the best place that you can put an ice cube and have it slow it down from melting? Because when you have ice in your drink, you don't want the ice to melt fast. You want it to stay cold and keep your drink cold for a long time. So step two is you do an educated guess. We call that the hypothesis. So I'm going to think that an ice cube will melt in the warmest temperature place with the sun shining on it. So I put it on top of my car. And that's my prediction. Now let me share the different places that we're going to put these things for our experiment, which is step three, the experiment. You're going to put an ice cube in the freezer. You're going to put one in the refrigerator, one in a room that has air conditioning, one in a room that does not have air conditioning that's a little bit warmer, outside in the shade, and then outside in the sun on the top of my car, the roof. And then I'm going to measure it. We measure times with watches and clocks. So I'm going to measure how long it took to melt in each setting, okay? Here we go. This is what I observed, and this is what I wrote down. It's really interesting. So I observed and noticed that the ice cubes in the cooler temperatures took longer to melt than the warmer places, where the ice cube melted quicker. When I put it in the freezer, I waited a day. I waited till the next day, and it was still frozen. So it did not melt at all. That was the coldest place. Then I put one in the refrigerator. I opened it and looked. I did that again and again and again all night. Then I went to bed. I woke up the next day, and at lunchtime, I put it in around dinner time. And at lunchtime, it had finally melted. So in the refrigerator, it took 13 hours and 27 minutes. That's a long time. That's about a little bit longer than half of a day. Well, let's take a look at some of the other places. Then I put it in an air-conditioned room, and it melted in almost 2 hours, an hour and 45 minutes. Then I put it in a room with air conditioning. I'm sorry, the air-conditioned room was an hour and 45 minutes. The non-air-conditioned room that has no air conditioning was an hour and 10 minutes. So that's a lot shorter of a time. Well, it's warmer, so the ice melted faster. See, we're already learning. In the refrigerator, it took 13 hours, a very long time, because it was a very cool temperature. It was 38 degrees. 33 degrees Fahrenheit is when things start freezing from a liquid to a solid, like water. Then I went outside, and in the front of my home is steps. I put an ice cube in the shade outside. The ice cube in the shade melted in 21 minutes. And then I put it on the roof of my car. It melted in 10 minutes. So the car was the winner. I mean, the car was the one that melted the ice cube the fastest. So if I'm drinking a lemonade with ice cubes, I don't want to put my glass on top of the car because then the ice cubes would melt the fastest. And that's what I learned from this experiment. But let's analyze. Let's check out the accuracy of our hypothesis. Now, hypothesis is a fancy science word for you take a guess thinking about all the things you know about science and the things you learned this year at Tigerman, and then you use that stuff that you learned to make the guess. So you're making a really good guess. And my prediction was very close because I put the plates with the warmest temperatures would melt the ice cubes the fastest. So the freezer kept it cold, and the refrigerator is what slowed it down. So if I want an ice cube to melt very, very slowly and keep my drink cool, I'm going to keep my drink with the ice cubes in the fridge. See, all this is learning, every part of it. Even if my prediction was way, way wrong, that's okay, because you're learning something. And that's what scientists do. They learn things from being right or being wrong in experiments. Now, the last part is step 6. I'm going to share the results. The ice cube that was placed in the sun on the warm hood of the car melted the fastest. Then, I just want to note one thing. After looking at this experiment and looking back at it, I learned that the size of the ice cube and the temperature of the place that the ice cube is put in is very, very important. Because if I have an ice cube that's this big, and then I have another ice cube that's this big, well, the bigger one's going to take longer to melt, so that wouldn't be fair for the experiment. And the larger ice cube is going to it's going to absorb more heat. It's got to absorb more heat to completely melt, especially compared to a small ice cube. Well, I hope you learned something from my science fair project today. And I did put an ice cube in the grass in the sun. Let's get an idea. This video is about 7 minutes long so far, but let's get an idea of what it looks like now. Uh-oh, it might have melted. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Now, 7 minutes time is not enough time to melt that cube, but we melted them in a bunch of other spots. I remember when I put it in the refrigerator, I went to sleep and woke up and it still was not melted. And then putting it on that hot car, never put those lemonades with the ice cubes on your hot car, because in the direct sun, it will melt them very, very quickly. And this lesson had a lot to do with the 3 states of matter, and I'm going to end with that. Do you know what they are? Solids, liquids, and gas. All right, have a great day, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the virtual science fair. I hope you had fun, and maybe you learned a little something from this. All right, see you next time. Have a great day.